Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. This is Mr. Dan Danielson. I am Rowdy Reece, and today we are here to talk about Slam Rage in the Cage 2. Dan, momentous
It was
event last
huge.
night. Massive crowd. Got confirmed numbers of 2,432 in attendance yesterday.
Like, for a venue of the size of the AIS.
Yeah.
And, like, for those that are outside of Canberra, obviously AIS is the Australian Institute of Sport, where obviously all of the sport, Olympic people and everybody come and train within Canberra and stuff. This is like the arena that they use for that, the basketball arena and volleyball arena and all that sort of stuff. Great venue, recently refurbed since post-COVID, because during COVID it was where we used a lot of the vaccinations was all done in the arena. That's why they got it used there. So then they rebuilt it, put new seats in. It's now got a bigger capacity. Great choice for Slam to take the event there to try and get it. The seats were obviously all elevated and raised above the ring. Everyone had pretty good seats. And really good turnout. Like,
huge turnout.
massive crowd, massive event. It was part of the IWC Strongman Championships across the weekend, so it was all a big thing. It's still ongoing on the Sunday. Huge event. I like. There's not really a lot of words that I have for it. We've seen Slam. Like, you and I have been to a lot of their events.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked about supporting local wrestling a lot.
Slowly
on this
grow
podcast.
over the last few years as well. Which has
From
been fantastic.
small events in the Ainsley Football Club where you jump up and you're going to hit your head on the roof, to bigger shows at the Southern Cross in Woden, to shows
UC
the
Refectory in
Refectory.
Belconnen.
National Convention Centre last year was 1,700 people, which is the biggest, I think, local Australian wrestling show in Australia.
And
so
now
this.
we've just surpassed that. So
Huge.
massive news. Mikey Broderick put up a post saying, like, to watch Slam grow and now become the biggest promotion in Australia is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, 100%. And you think about, too, like the story that they've woven throughout the history of Slam. The first ever Slam pro wrestling match in Canberra was Luke Watts versus Dan Archer.
A very young babyface Dan Archer.
And the main event of Rage in the Cage 2 at the AIS Arena in front of the biggest crowd in Australia, Luke Watts versus Dan Archer.
For the Slam Pro Wrestling League.
And as you'll see from Reece's fantastic Dan Archer shirt,
We've got his signed picture in the back. We've got, courtesy of Mama Archer, this... I don't even have the words for it. This amazing sign that was put together, which was not allowed in the venue.
confiscated by security. I mean,
Dan Archer shooting Luke Watts, piercing him through the heart to foreshadow the eventual victory in the cage.
correct. I mean, it is a proper bow and arrow with a legitimate arrow,
Yes.
so I can see maybe why security didn't let it, but I think that, Mama Archer should have got that one through anyway.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I know
Love
that before the main event, Sweet Pete was going around talking to people about their signs and different things. That should have won. That's so well done.
Absolutely.
It really is. Thank you so much for letting us have it on the set because it's brilliant.
It's genius. I don't think I ever could have thought up an idea that good.
Looking over there at the sign that we'd made for the first time we went to Dan Archer, and I had a list of the best archers ever, and I have Arrow on there and the chick from Brave, Katniss, and then I had 3,078 was Dan Archer.
He's our number one archer.
100%. Number one in our
He's our
hearts
number
now,
one
Dan.
Oh, mate. Well, let's kick it off. First match of the night, Mikey Broderick versus Tommy Knight, with the winner getting in the Terry Campese Invitational Battle Royal for $10,000 and a Slam Pro Wrestling League Championship match in the future.
Yes.
That
Big
was very
stakes.
good. Yeah, big stakes.
And
for
knowing
this match.
Tommy Knight, he likes big stakes.
Absolutely, he's a big stake. As soon as this match got announced, we knew this was going to be something special. Mikey and
100%.
Tommy are both incredible talents, and they put on an absolute barn burner. It was the perfect match.
It's always, look, every time we come to Slam, Mikey is 9 times out of 10 the opening match because he wants to set the bar high, and he does because
every
Mikey's
time.
brilliant. Mikey, when did you change your music to Parkway Drive? Good choice.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Good choice. Great choice. Gets everyone who knows that knows to do the chant.
Yeah.
And we were doing the chant.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time before the rest of the Slam crowd picks up on that. And then we get Parkway chants at a Slam wrestling event.
That's exactly what Reece wants. Look, the match was obviously really good. Big spots from both of the guys. We have a bit of a thing with Tommy Knight. So we a couple of Slam shows ago, Reece had a few too many cans and yelled at Tommy to go back to Melbourne. We know that Tommy's from Adelaide. And so now every event we go to,
we try and get it in.
We yell it out. The PWA Coliseum show was nice and quiet at a point that I yelled it and everybody heard it. Last night the crowd was a bit more raucous and it was the first match.
It was a very loud crowd throughout the majority of the night. So it was hard to get those like lulls in the crowd where you could get a cheeky chant in.
Yeah, and I think we tried twice to tell him to go back to Melbourne. He couldn't hear us. So sorry, Tommy, but go back to Melbourne, mate.
Yeah, that's all right.
Mikey won.
Mikey did win in a very triumphant performance, and he cemented his position in that 20-man battle royal. So it's great to see that. That was my initial early prediction, and him and Slex were my picks for the winner.
No spoilers. We've got a while to get there.
We will get there very shortly.
None of my picks went well in the battle royal.
No.
And I was politely told that by Dan at the end of the night too.
Yes. Next match on the card to crown the brand new Slam tag team champions.
Yes.
The Dropouts versus the Untouchables.
Ooh, the Tuckman
and Scotty Green versus Damien Slater and
the other guy from the Untouchables.
Man, I feel really bad.
Yeah, you should. You're the one that did the research for this too, Reece.
Research. Slam didn't put the names in their posts, so I blame them.
Oh, mate, you can't
Mate, it's
blame
Team DK, the Untouchables.
You can't blame Slam for this.
Look,
yes, we will. You research that while I talk about the match for a second.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, from the Slam crowd, and for those of us that are sort of, locals to the venue, we're a little bit disappointed that our hero and our
Marcius Pitt.
There you go. Our the King's Court, Matt Hayter and King Vance didn't keep their titles. They were unceremoniously stripped of them by Sweet Pete and the board of directors. So there was always a bit of resentment around this titles match. But then when they announced the Untouchables, TMDK, and the Dropouts from PWA as the two contesting teams, I was like, well, this is going to be good fun.
Yeah.
And it was. So the Untouchables came out. I would say that the crowd was indifferent to start with.
Yes.
They were playing the heel to a degree, but I don't think the crowd knew that they were the heels.
Yeah, I think the Slam crowd has been exposed to Damien Slater before. He's appeared. I think he was on the Slam Rage in the Cage card last year.
Yep.
And possibly another Slam show in the past as well. So we've had exposure to Damien Slater before, but I don't think we've had Marcius Pitt. We saw him at the Perth Super Show before Elimination Chamber, so we knew of him. But yeah, so for them, pretty fresh faces in Slam. Kind of expected not too much crowd response from them, especially being the heels as well.
Yeah, but they didn't know they were heels until the Dropouts came out to Chelsea Dagger and everyone's... The crowd is in for that. The start of the match, the way that they kept doing this, and then when Tuckman got him in the full Nelson stretch, and then he was getting him to do this. Mate, so much fun. Well done. Worked the crowd perfectly. Yeah. This was very similar to what we said when we saw these guys at PWA.
Yep.
Is that they were the masters of the hot tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Scotty Green took a whole lot of damage. He was in the ring for a long time, and he kept going for the hot tag for Tuckman, and there was always something. Yeah. Whether he just fell short or Tuckman got pulled off the ropes.
Classic moves.
It was perfectly done in terms of tag team wrestling. And then when he got the hot tag, and then everything went on, and then the Dropouts are now our new Slam tag team champions.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Early prediction that they were going to win. Like once this match got announced, we thought for sure the Dropouts are going to win these titles, and I'm very happy that they did.
Yep, 100%. Got our Tuckman shirt.
They're storming the Australian tag team division, not just Slam. They're going to run a roughshod over the entire tag team division all across Australia.
Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, but I'm pretty sure they're the champions in Newcastle. Possibly the IWA. They're not quite PWA yet, but give them time.
Yeah, they'll get there.
And now Slam. Yeah. Which is awesome. And
on a meteoric rise.
Absolutely. And to give them credit as well, a lot of the guys that were traveling around for this show, including, we'll talk about Rita Stone and stuff later, wrestled the night before in Wollongong.
Yeah.
Wrestled the weekend before. I believe that Tuckman and that wrestled either twice or 3 times the weekend before, like a match for, in Parramatta and then later at Seven Hills. Like these guys are working super hard, and we've talked about on the Coliseum show that's on YouTube. Go check that one out if you wanted to see what our thoughts for that 2-day event. Support local wrestling because these guys are giving so much and they're doing so much for local wrestling.
110% all the time. They're booking themselves super consistently, like several days in advance, as well as like consecutively as well.
Yep.
I think we've got Jesse Lambert over for we had him over for the Slam Invitational Battle Royal last night, and he's also sticking around, and I think he's got 3 consecutive dates with Scotty and Tuckman in IWA as well.
Yep, yeah, he wrestled on a Friday night. And then same as not Lucha Fantastica, Through the Texas Selfies. He's also from Perth. It was, the guy's Mikey's
Fantasia.
Yeah, the one that was Mikey's tag team partner over there. So like getting these guys traveling around and stuff for this. Obviously, like we said at the start, over 2,000 people at the RAS is a massive crowd. If you're a local Australian wrestler, you want to get involved.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And we did see people from PWA actually attend Slam as well. Saw there were a handful of people at the front row of Coliseum with Ben Braxton signs. We did see them in the crowd at Slam last night. So if you're watching this, thank you for travelling down to support your mate Ben Braxton and exposing.
Braxton was robbed again.
Yeah, he was.
Hashtag Braxton for Coliseum 2025.
Yes, because he wasn't there in 24 or 23 or 22.
You don't need to rub that part in. We got it. We know.
Next year. It's his time.
Surely. What was after the tag match?
Vinnie Bronson with Josh versus Hugh Beauty with Crofty.
To point out before this match, right? Vinny, because I know you watch us, here's your cards, right? We bought your cards. You promised us mugs, mate. I went in, cash in hand, to go out to the shop. No, you know what?
Lots of cash.
Whatever.
Oh,
to buy these mugs from Vinny, because Vinny is a mug.
with his mug on it.
Yeah. Weren't there?
No mugs.
I wanted a mug.
So I think we resorted to childish measures. We happened to vandalise one of the Bronson United shirts with a Dudham sticker. So
I'm sure he'll find that when he goes back through his merch.
If nobody's seen it yet, might want to go looking.
Sorry, not sorry, Vinny. Yeah. Look, this match was obviously him and Hugh Beauty, and then the ulterior story of all of this was Josh on the outside. Josh from the Ned and Josh podcast, not from 104.7, 2 totally different people. Yep. And on the side of Hugh Beauty, we had Crofty, the Canberra klepto.
Oh, Crofty.
And we...
Back in our hearts.
Reece, with his eagle eyes, noticed when they walked out, had a little sneaky looking like, Crofty's in wrestling boots on. Something's happening. He's getting involved.
Always the consummate professional, ready for action.
Absolutely.
I suspected it would turn into a tag match.
You were thinking that the original match is going to get blown off as a DQ or something, and then straight into a tag?
I was wrong. I admit defeat.
Look, this match became a bit of a mess. Let's be fair.
It did. We got the classic ref bump.
With the knuckles into the back of the head.
And then chaos.
Then there was
steel chairs, tables.
The bin spot where they put the bin over Frankie's,
the barbed wire wrapped cricket bat.
Great
I
touch.
was not expecting. That was not on my big go card for Rage in the Cage too.
No, I mean this was definitely the hardcore part of the night with the spots.
Like, we had Crofty. It had to be hardcore, right?
Correct. And if we're going to talk about the hardcore spot, we're going to have to talk about the table. So there was a point earlier on in the match where they'd set up a table outside. Josh and Vinny had set up a table to obviously, Chekhov's table for the rest of the night. What's going to happen? Who's going to go through it? We have the chair spots. We have the bin spot. Everything's going messy.
Table's still there.
Table's still there. We're wondering what's going on. And then Josh gets in the ring, and then, Crofty has the bat and stuff. So Josh runs out the back. Josh sneaks back into the ring for a cheeky low blow on Hugh Beauty. Crofty sees
it's a bit of a stiff-looking low blow too.
Well, you even mentioned this last night, like this, and this is for you, Josh. Sorry, you got to learn these things when you keep going through shows. When you hit the low blow, right, you got to go up. You got to hold it.
Just hold it. Give it some emphasis.
So the people in the back, right at the top of the stands, can see that's what you've done.
I feel like he took a bit out of Big Fudge's playbook and just went the whole bam.
Oh, the big butt punch.
The butt punch.
It's
he just punched him right in the.
Are you saying he Tonga lowered it? That he had to go for a second time. Oh, great, we're gonna get right in there. But anyway, there was a low blow, and then Crofty didn't like that, and so Crofty gets Josh onto the apron. what looked to me was kind of like how he had him was kind of like a styles clash in terms of like Josh was.
Yeah.
We're not going to say sandbagging Josh. We wouldn't say that about you, but made it a bit more difficult than it probably needed to be for Crofty to pick him up for a powerbomb through the table. We go off the apron and we'll see if we can find the clip and maybe put it in. If Editor Luke's that talented, which we all know he is.
Yeah.
There's the spot here of Crofty putting Josh through a table with a powerbomb, but unfortunately Crofty's legs hit the table first, and the table yeeted out.
Yeah, it just shifted, and then he just pile drove Josh onto the mat or onto the floor.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Josh walked out. To be honest, he was very groggy.
It was a very
but he still walked
dangerous
out.
spot.
Yeah.
Which then led to Hugh Beauty hitting the well, I can't remember what he calls that. You know it.
And then he got Vinny in the square leg lock.
And he tapped a square leg
down.
I mean, look, like we said, messy match, lots of spots. The crowd were in it, obviously, for all the different spots in there. The match itself was what it was.
Yeah.
I just want to give credit to the referee for being out for about 7.5 minutes for one tap on the back of his head, out cold, gone. And they were.
Somebody's got to get him to HIA.
Oh, he 100% needs to be checked on by the medical team because the table spot and everything was literally right in front of where the referee was lying. No clue what happened.
No,
nothing.
I made sure I had a look at the ref and he was there and he was nursing his head. So
because he couldn't see. He was doing these ones. Yeah, okay.
So he just couldn't see what happened. It's unfortunate.
Very.
Moving on to the next match, probably one everyone was excited for, the Battle Royal.
So this was after the intermission.
Yes.
So we had our intermission break, where people went to the one food and drink van that was open.
Yeah. So
inside the venue.
Nothing against Slam. This is more so on the AIS Arena. Very poorly organised in terms of food and drink. But halfway through that Slam Tag Team Champion match, they did open up a stall down the back, and I was just right there.
We saw
needed a drink, and I just went down there. I bought 5 bottles of a variety of things to just share around the group, so we had some drink, which is good.
Yeah, because I was wondering when we went inside the arena and there was nothing open. There was no drinks. There was no. I mean, we were unfortunately told 3 days beforehand on the post that there was no alcohol at the menu. Which, look, I guess
is what it is.
It is what it is. But those of us that attend or anything in public, let's say, that's not like a kid's.
We like to nurse our anxiety with the alcohol.
It brings a bit of life to every event you go to. Footy games, obviously wrestling events, concerts.
Oh, don't we know about dealing with drunk people at footy games?
Yes, we absolutely do. So obviously no alcohol kind of made that a little bit interesting for the way the crowd was.
I think the crowd sort of, towards the end of the night, you could tell that, because the doors opened a little later than we anticipated.
Yeah, there was a bit of
which
hold up.
pushed the show back a little bit, and the show didn't finish until about 10:30, I think it was.
Yeah.
And being a family-friendly event and having kids in the crowd, I'm sure the families were tired and not as rambunctious as they usually would be.
Yep.
So changed the atmosphere a little bit, but we still got some good noise in that last match, so it wasn't all out.
Agree. And I think that, like you said, this is unfortunately an AIS Arena issue, because obviously, like we said, this was a wrestling show in and amongst a weekend event for the strongman and all that other different stuff too. So there was obviously other parts of the setup that were there for the weekend. They have to have things closed down. The security at the end of the night were, I'd say, a little rude to the majority of the crowd, kicking everybody out. And I mean, unfortunate, because the way that most of these events go, and we've said this a lot, is that the best parts to people like us and fans are hanging out, talking to the wrestlers after the match, getting the signatures. Lockie did a fantastic job, as you can see on the Slam finger, signed by just about every person that was there. Yeah. He did that in 7.5 minutes, running around trying to find every person he could.
While we were getting ushered out.
While we were getting kicked out of the venue. Because they had to,
he even got Slamoo.
Did he?
Oh,
I haven't even looked at the signatures. I just trusted Lockie did it all. So, and yeah, look, that kind of put a damper on the end of the evening, sort of getting rushed out and stuff. Because, like we said, the best part of these local shows is talking to the talent, hanging out, getting photos.
On this episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, we couldn't even get the microphones out to talk to people. So,
invested in some high quality wireless Rode microphones so I can look like a professional interviewer.
Yeah. And you couldn't even do it.
Didn't even get an opportunity.
We'll save it for another episode. Yeah, we'll be fine.
You're right.
But yeah, like that put a dampener on it. But what didn't put a dampener on it was the battle royal, right? Actually, no, I'm gonna lie. There was a dampener for me for this battle royal. Sweet Pete comes out before the battle royal starts and says, "Hi, just so you're aware, unfortunately, Terry Campese has failed his medical, and the board of directors said he's not able to attend the match and will not be in the Rumble tonight." And everyone's like, "Oh, boo!" Spoiler alert: he shows up 5 minutes later into the Rumble. My tip to Slam: I'm fine with this. I like the storytelling. Obviously, it's set up a really good spot in the Rumble. Do the Terry Campese announcement at the start of the night, so that we actually have time to build on it, and then forget that he's not in there, and then he shows up. Because when you tell us he's not here, and then he comes in 5 minutes later, like none of that's happened in terms of storyline wise in your mind to be able to anticipate the actual surprise pop. So it could have just been better, but it wasn't a dampener. The way that this battle royal went, I also feel.
Mate, look, I'm a Raiders supporter, so I was pumped either way. We got the ball there.
You got the Raiders tattoo. Oh my god, you mark. The one thing I think we were tight on time, like you said.
Yeah,
it was a bit slow,
absolutely.
and you could sort of tell that by every person just walking out.
Yeah,
there was no ring entrances. There was nothing special. Everyone just kind of
came out, got announced,
got into the ring, and then everyone tried to tackle Slamu because he was clearly the biggest guy in there, and they had to get rid of him first. Yeah. Which they did, because that's the Slamu spot now, I think, for any over-the-top battle royale.
He's won a handful of in Slam history, so he's
won the ones at Reload, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a massive target on his back when it comes to these sorts of matches.
Well, he has a massive back too. So
yeah, he does.
he's him and Raquel could, have a back off.
Can't do it. Sorry. Can't do the lats.
I mean, what were some of the spots from this? Obviously, there's
just so much talent in this match.
There was.
Like, we had a bunch of people come down from PWA. We had Jimmy Townsend. We had Ben Braxton. We had the North Shore Wankers. North Shore Wrestling.
Mate, they love that.
They absolutely love that. Despite how they react in the ring.
That's exactly what they want.
That's what they want. Have you got the full list?
I'm just trying to find the list because I did write all the names down at a point. So,
but yeah, we had so much talent in that ring. It was hard to just keep an eye on one person because, like, with our exposure to the Australian wrestling community at the moment, like, we know how good all these talents are. Well, yeah.
So there was
here we go.
Slex, Randy Chambers, Mikey, Skull, Jimmy Townsend, Aaron Jake, Ben Braxton, Luca Fantasia, Lee Morrow, King Vance, Matt Hayter, Jesse Lambert, North Shore Wrestling 1 and 2, Genghis Kong, Jordan Locke, Slamu, and Terry Campese.
Stacked card. So with that much talent in the ring at once, it was hard to focus on one area because you're like, oh, I want to see what they do. I want to see what they do. I think us being the massive King Vance marks, we were watching King Vance and Matthew Hayter III pretty intently.
We're watching the royalty.
Which ended up working out in our favour because the final four ended up being King Vance, Matthew Hayter III, and my initial picks for the wins.
Mikey and Slex.
Before
Before that, obviously, there was a brawl in the middle between Skull and Genghis Kong that went all the way around and out and down out the back. That was nice. And everyone started to sort of pop out. Jimmy Townsend was my pick. He got taken out by Ricky South. Ricky South back to back.
But also, like, Ricky South didn't win, so I was pretty happy.
You're happy with that? The high spot in the middle of this match was clearly a point when everyone was against the turnbuckles and knocked out. And Rig, who we've seen in Slam shows for a fair bit, it comes out in all of his Newcastle gear. He's from Newcastle and a Newcastle Knights fan. Yeah. Also like Dan Archer is. And he did his flipping barrel things into the corner, the cannonballs on 4 of them, and they were brutal. The height he was getting and the speed he was running for these.
Rig is an absolute unit.
Absolutely.
I picture him, he's Kevin Owens-like, but I feel like he's more agile, which is just mind-boggling for a nuggety sort of chunky guy like that.
Yep.
Absolutely love seeing it, though.
And so he clears the ring out. He knocks everybody down.
He's in the ring, and he's
like, cheering.
And then the lights go down.
And then you hear the horn. Sorry, the Viking horn. Can you do it again for me? The Viking horn. That was better. You got a little bit better that time.
There we go.
And then everyone starts the Viking clap.
Viking clap.
Man, you bloody Canberra
Bloody
marks.
Paris supporter, get out of here.
Shut
you
up,
ain't got no clap.
And then Terry Campese comes out and his budgie smugglers
In the budgies, my
throwing little footies to the crowd. Lockie was at the front, so he got one. And he gets in the ring and he fights Rig, and he gets a really good spear.
Yeah, I mean, like, I should have expected Campo to hit a spear.
Oh,
being
we
a
said the same thing
football
with
player.
James Graham.
James Graham did the same thing at PWA Coliseum the other week, so
Yep.
fully expected. Any time someone from football comes into wrestling, you do a spear.
You're going to get tackled. He got Rig out, and then King Vance
Yes.
was the heel that ended up getting out Campo. We were not worthy.
I mean, I was very torn being a Canberra supporter.
Yeah, you weren't
But
too sure how to
I
feel
love
about it.
King Vance, but also, like, it's Campo. He's a legend.
I don't care. Campo, good on you, King. We were not worthy. Then you said, we got to the last four. It was the Team DK boys, Mikey and Slex against the King's Court. There was a great stalling suplex here
Yeah.
for both of them. They held them up for a good 10
And then
seconds.
we had the dueling 10 punches to Hader and Vance as well.
Yep. It was a good finish to the Rumble. There was a bit of a misdirection where they sort of went rope to rope, and that's when Mikey went over the top, and it was Slex against the two of them. Slex looked like he was outnumbered. He didn't know what to do. The King's Court were toying. They were playing with their food until Slex got on top again quickly. Got rid of Matt Hader, but then King Vance
From behind.
wins. I was very glad with this decision.
Absolutely.
The promo that he cut afterwards about the peasants in the crowd and the fact that I love the way that he sold that, he's already rich. They're already royalty. I don't need your $10,000.
With the cost of living crisis going on in Canberra at the moment.
Great line.
Like he's going to donate it to one lucky individual in the crowd. And he's like, no, the peasants don't deserve it.
Correct. And we didn't.
We don't.
No,
We're not
the
worthy.
king. So
Plain and simple.
King Vance wins the Terry Campese Battle Royale, $10,000 richer, and a title shot.
Yes. Very interesting to see how that one's going to unfold.
That possibly swayed our decisions on who we thought was going to win the main event, but maybe not.
Yeah, us being smart marks, we like to think, because
We played
a heel won the Battle Royal. He's like, he's got to have a face champion to go up against, right? Which means Luke retains,
Spoiler.
surely?
Was the next match the women's?
Yes, women's championship match. Rita Stone defeating Kingsley to become your new Slam Pro League champion.
Now, we've seen Kingsley a fair bit. She had a fantastic entrance at the UC show for Slam with her and Shay Cassidy coming out singing the Backslide Girls song. Lockie on the car drive home was saying that he reckons he could be a better singer than Kingsley. We said, look, I feel
words from a
like
little man.
the way that she sings is possibly part of the act. And he was like, no, I reckon I'm just better than her. Okay, so Kingsley, if you want to sing off with a karaoke off with an 11-year-old, let me know. We'll tee it up. I've got SingStar.
Show him who's boss.
Yeah, you can pick like a Lady Gaga song. You can pick Parkway Drive if you want to impress Reece. Whatever you want, we can sort something out. But they didn't quite get the same pomp and stance and circumstance for this entrance.
No.
Kind of just came out.
And especially after seeing their entrance for PWA Coliseum as well, where they had like people in like bunny and bear costumes and like party people come out with them. It was like a whole big spectacle.
Yeah.
There was a thin veil of hope that we'd get that for Rage in the Cage 2 as well. But
Not quite.
No. But we still got a Backslide Girls performance, so that was something.
Until Reed Stone came in and
Ruined it.
ruined it for those of us that wanted the performance, but got the
Yeah.
big pop out of the crowd because they wanted Kingsley to shut up, which is, that's how it works. Again,
It's just a different type of art.
pretty good match again. I'm a little disappointed in the referee for the amount that he just let Shay Cassidy walk through the ring. The amount of time she just came in and just was walking around. Like, it's not a handicap match. It's not an ODQ match. Do your job. Get her out of there. Yeah. But to Kingsley's detriment, the referee didn't get her out of there. So when she brought the tea in to throw it at Rita,
That tea.
it missed.
Rita ducked, and then Shay essentially cost her tag team partner her Slam Women's Championship.
Yeah, I wouldn't say essentially. I'd say absolutely she cost her the title because that was what Rita Stone then took advantage of.
Yeah.
Hit the 450 off the top rope.
Which was a spectacular looking 450 as well.
Great, nailed it perfectly. And 1, 2, 3, new Slam Women's Champion.
Well deserved too. Rita Stone's been pulling a lot of hard work lately. So.
She was like what in the PWI 250? She was like 127, I think.
She was pretty. She was in top half. I'm pretty sure.
She was in the top 250 at least. So that's really good to see that local talent's getting recognised worldwide in the PWI rankings. But then she's now getting a slam title too, which is awesome.
Yeah, well deserved. Congratulations.
Good to see. Obviously, we'll see Kingsley around. We'll see the Backside girls again. But Rita Stone's now our new champion, and that leads us to our main event. The funny part of this, obviously, being a cage match, 15-foot steel cage match. The cage was not in the arena when all the rest of the matches were happening. It wasn't above like WWE. Obviously, we don't have quite the quality of materials or cost to do that. So they had to bring the cage in from backstage, which they couldn't get through the door initially, which was humorous.
Like they were having a little trouble. But they got there in the end. That's the important part.
They did. And they built it up. It was all nice and sturdy, ready for the main event. Because if there's a cage match, Luke Watts, the hope from the top rope, is jumping off that cage at some point. Has to be. Dan Archer, the challenger, got his title shot from what did he won something. I can't remember. No, he just attacked stomped Luke's head with the chair and said he demanded it. That's right, he did. You know what? If the board of directors aren't going to give you what you want, just take it. You got to take it. And look what happened, Dan. Well done. Straight through his heart.
He took matters into his own hands, and he got himself a championship.
At the start of the match, before the match even starts, Dan climbs the cage to get on top to gloat to everybody. A little bit wobbly.
He slipped.
Cuts his arm already before the match has even started. Love your work, Dan.
But mate, Dan's a champion in many senses now.
Yes.
And he powered through.
Absolutely.
He didn't let that be a setback.
Such a reputable wrestler. Yes. He really is.
Absolutely.
Look, this was a good cage match. Yeah. There was lots of spots. There was a couple of missed moonsaults, which we knew was going to happen.
From both parties as well. So
yep, because Dan, I don't think he's hit his moonsault in a very long time. He's never hit
anything off the top rope. And we try to tell him at shows when he goes to the top rope, no, Dan, don't do it. Just stop. Remember last time. I remember very distinctly the last Reload show we went to. Same thing. No, Dan, don't do it. He's like, no, it's okay. I've got this. I was like, I believe you. I believed him for a second.
Yeah.
And then he missed again.
Maybe now that he's a champion with God around his waist, he'll hit them.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the changing tides.
Magic. It's the
who knows. Look, a couple of really good spots in this. There was a kick out of the pile driver. There was a kick out of the 450 from the hope from the top rope.
The shooting star as well.
Shooting star as well. They obviously went all out with all of the different moves in the different spots. Luke was on top. Yep. Luke climbed to the top rope, did a moonsault, and decided, not enough.
He's got to go to that extra step to try seal the victory.
Has to go to the top of the cage.
Yep.
Goes to the top of the cage and misses the moonsault.
That's what won him the title in Rage in the Cage last year.
Correct.
So him going up for that, he knew he's done it before. If he does it again, he could win that match. And Dan was just conscious enough to see him coming and just quickly duck out of the way.
Yep.
And you could see, like, he looked at Luke as he landed and he was like, now's my opportunity. Gets up. Hits the Archer's Paradox. 1, 2, 3. New Slam Wrestling Champion.
Very well deserved.
Yes, absolutely. And, like, if you aren't a fan of Dan Archer,
get with the times.
Get with the times. Change your mind. But give him a follow on social media. For the last few months, he's been posting progress pictures from the start of Slam and beforehand until now. He's put in massive work to get to where he is now. He's almost a completely different man.
I feel like Sweet Pete even announced him as jacked and stacked, Dan Archer.
Oh, absolutely.
On top of being the full draw. Like, do you want some more superlatives? Maybe they need to also call him the most reputable wrestler.
It needs to be a thing.
Yeah, can we get that?
Let's get
that announced, Sweet Pete?
Let's get a shirt.
Oh, the reputable wrestler.
The reputable wrestler.
Yeah. I mean, look, all of these things down.
I'll buy it.
Of course you will.
I mean, like, I've
bought that.
This nice green, my favourite colour.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
I was wearing that shirt last night, and then I also got my Tuckman shirt. So we got to share the love here.
We couldn't do matchy.
No. Look, overall, this was a fantastic Slam show.
Yeah.
The in-ring wrestling and the work was great. And like we've said every other time that we've had these shows is the first match, be it, a Mikey or a Slex or an Adam Brooks, one of those kind of people matches, always sets the bar really high.
Yeah.
The women's matches were always really entertaining. It was really great to see a title change there. The tag match with the Dropouts they got the full crowd involved. The crowd were chanting and cheering. That was exactly what we needed. Vinny and the Hugh Beauty match had the nostalgia of Crofty for those of us in Canberra.
Yeah.
Had all the great spots there. You then had obviously the Battle Royal with everyone involved to get everybody on the card and to have little spots for everyone to talk with the crowd. We talked about, you mentioned Ben Braxton. There was, Aaron Jake was in there as well. There was Jimmy Townsend, who didn't really get enough of a spot, I think.
Yeah.
Plus the Slam guys, Slamu was in there, Randy Chambers was in there, Jordan Locke. Like there was a lot of different guys that got their little bit of a rub in that match, and then your main event was huge. So props to Slam for a really great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for Slam Rage in the Cage 3 next year. Surely this is going to be our recurring yearly end of year.
It should
event.
Be. And the tickets were there last night for the Slam Rumble, which will be the February the 8th next year.
Yes.
Again at the UC.
Yeah.
So a bit of a bigger crowd for the Rumble, which will be nice.
I think the entrance that they had for the setup when we were last at the UC Refectory, I think that's going to really lend a positive hand to the Rumble feel.
Yeah,
because you actually had that like entrance ramp with the two aisles with the crowd sitting there, and I think just like picturing it and seeing people come out in a Rumble, I really like that setup. So I'm absolutely pumped for that show.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I think that's it for our wrap up of Slam.
Yeah.
Go and support local, right? We've said this how many times?
We say this all the time. Anytime we talk about local wrestling, go support local wrestling. We've just booked tickets to Lucha Fantastica on November 16th. So if you're there, we're going to be at the 4 p.m. family session.
Yep.
Come say hello.
Just go support your local wrestlers. Go, you know what I mean? These guys and girls come and put on their heart and soul for everything. They're out there to sign fingers and posters and shirts,
get photos,
take selfies, hang out with everybody. The Slam guys always put on a great show.
My lord was gracious enough to grace my niece with a photo.
Yeah,
she had a Vance crown on, which we have Vance crowns as merchandise now.
Well, we're not worthy to wear one.
No, we could never. We could never. My head's too fat.
I would not want to besmirch my lord.
Yeah,
if I was to wear one. No.
But we'll pop it up here. We'll get Ella Luke to pop it in. It's my niece there with King Vance and his giant check.
So he's going to probably spend really wisely.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the kind of guy that knows crypto.
He'll get new gear and just like make everything gold. Just
like really just sort of up
He'll be like Gold Homer from The Simpsons. Just be encrusted in gems.
I could see it.
Love it.
See it.
Do it.
All right, that's it. That's it. We're done with.
We'll wrap it up there.
Thank you, Slam. Thank you, all the wrestlers.
Yep.
Thank you, AIS Arena, to a degree. Be better next time.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully there's no next time.
Congrats to the two guys that had the Cranksky score, barbecue stall out the front of the AIS. They were the only people selling food and drink for the night. Like, well done to you boys, because you would have made a fortune.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. This has been our review of Slam Rage in the Cage 2. As we always say, go support local wrestling. Get out there. Go to the events. You'll have fun. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time down under the mat.